Welcome to Beyond Investments with your host, Seth Leishman of Ostrofe Financial Consultants. Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostrofe Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Ostrofe Financial Consultants, National Planning member SIPC. And now, Beyond Investments, here's your host, Seth Leishman.
Good morning, and welcome to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO AM 830. This is the Beyond Investment Show with Seth Leishman and Rick Fisher from Ostrofe Financial.
Morning, folks. And we have a special guest this afternoon, don't we?
We do. We have Chloe hanging out at our feet.
Your feet, at least.
At least my feet, yes.
She was over here licking me, but now she said she'd rather sit next to you.
Our 6-year-old mini Aussie office dog.
Mascot.
Well, I mean, she's
our mascot.
She is. When she comes.
Yes.
If she's not hanging at home with the kids. Boy, another beautiful Nevada County day here. Warm.
Yes. Not quite as warm as it was last weekend, though.
Correct.
And what did we do last weekend?
Great segue. We were downtown.
Yes, we were.
Mostly under the shade.
Yeah, we had a nice little spot. So for those who know, we were at the Grass Valley Car Show.
Yes.
And yours truly and Seth both had cars in the show.
Yes, we did.
And
it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a good turnout.
Very good turnout. I think a lot of people were expecting the heat would keep people away, but it didn't seem to.
I think there was quite a bit out. I mean, it was all day. I mean, it was pretty constant too.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, there really kind of wasn't any real long lulls or anything like that, and a lot of people walking around enjoying the shows.
Some really pretty cars.
Some very pretty cars.
Some I've seen. They're there every year.
Yes, and of course, speaking for myself, much nicer cars than mine.
Yes. There are some really nice cars.
Very nice cars there.
So which car did you vote for as your show favorite?
The 69 Z28.
Okay, and I voted for the Sunbeam Tiger.
Yes, that's right, of course.
That had just been newly restored. Very, very nice car. I don't think anyone voted for any of our cars.
I don't think no, probably not. Well, I mean, they would have voted for yours, but mine's not worthy of mine's definitely not worthy of a favorite vote. Maybe someday. Maybe not, though, actually. I don't think I would ever spend enough money on it to make it worthwhile of that. Worthy of that, I should say. Worthy of that. It'll always be a driver.
Oh, absolutely. And again, we're talking about our subject matter today.
That's right.
Which we have touched on before, but I think it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Is alternative investments, specifically collectibles.
What we would call collectibles, yes.
And we'll talk about what is collectible. What things should you look for if you want the kind of collectibles, the pitfalls, the good stuff.
The difference in seeing a collectible and understanding it to be truly collectible and of a value versus just hoarding.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, which people who do collectibles it's easy to fall trap to fall into.
You're walking a fine line.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
But we'll have a fun. That's going to be our topic today. We're going to have fun with it as well as, and informative. It'll be very.
Absolutely.
I think we've got a lot of good information around this.
And again, general kind of advice that if you're looking into this, these are things to consider.
That's right.
And they're finicky little things. When I was reading a lot of this, there's a lot that goes into what to collect, when to sell, how to evaluate. We'll go through all of that. But first, we need to do some trivia.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Anyway, so we will start with financial trivia because this is a financial show. Going back to 1996.
Yes.
Albert J. Chainsaw Al Dunlap becomes chairman of the Sunbeam Corporation, not the Sunbeam Tiger.
Right.
The struggling maker of coffee machines, barbecue grills, and massage shower heads. The veteran tough guy turnaround artist announces massive layoffs, factory closings, and other steps that he predicts will save the company $225 million and double revenues by 1999. The stock soars 50% on Dunlap's first day. Less than 2 years later, Dunlap steps down amid allegations of massive accounting fraud.
Oh, dear. Not good.
No, not good. Moving on. This is from
Jason Zweig.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The 60-year-old brain is stalling again. 1968, Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore, engineering refugees from Fairchild Semiconductor, established NM Electronics Corporation to miniaturize electronic circuitry into silicon chips. The firm based in a small leased building in Mountain View, California, generates $2,672 in revenue in its first year. Woo! Wow, man. It soon changes its name to Intel.
Very nice.
I think their sales a little bit more than $2,600 now.
Probably a little bit more than $2,600.
Maybe
$2,600 every couple of minutes.
Every
I'm
second.
guessing.
Moving on to sports. Got a lot of sports.
Okay.
Baseball, my favorite sport.
Yep.
1912. We're going to go back a ways. The Chicago Cubs get 21 hits against the Philadelphia Phillies in 11 innings and lose.
Ooh, that's not good.
A year later, after 68 straight innings without giving up a walk, Christy Mathewson gives up a walk.
Oh, wow.
For those who don't know, Christy Mathewson is one of the early pioneers, and his command was impeccable. Obviously, that we don't walk anyone to 68.
If you're not walking anybody 68. Wow.
Moving on to
that's still a record that stands.
I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up.
Maybe I have to look that up. Yeah.
1921. Babe Ruth achieves 139 home runs with a major league record of 575 feet. So he hit the 139th home run he hit.
Yes.
He hit 575 feet to become the all-time home run leader in Major League Baseball history, taking the crown from Roger Connor.
Okay. Never even heard of him.
Yeah, Roger, I have, but it only took 139 back in 1921 to break the all-time record.
Wow.
Took a little bit longer for the next guy.
Yeah, I would guess.
It took Aaron, till 74?
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time.
53 years later.
You know, kind of the same thing there. 139, his 139th home run.
Yes.
There's a stat right now showing Shohei Ohtani.
Right. Okay.
I think it's something similar, like
after
X number of total number of innings,
correct,
total number of games, like it was like within all those numbers all matched almost perfectly.
Exactly. And
wild.
And assuming those numbers, I haven't vetted, I'm assuming those numbers are good.
Yeah.
Again, I defend Babe Ruth for a couple of reasons.
Well, of course.
Number one, I think Babe Ruth, when he stopped pitching, was younger than Shohei Ohtani was
right
now. So
yes.
Shohei, I don't know how long he's going to be able to do both.
Correct.
We shall see. Anyways, he's sure fun to watch, though.
Yeah, it is fun to watch.
And he's going to get paid.
He'll be a giant.
Okay, well, maybe.
Knock on wood, let's hope.
Moving on to 1927.
Those of us who are Giants fans, we hope so.
1927, Ty Cobb got his 4,000th Major League hit.
Oh, wow.
1943, here's another crazy stat. 1943, Giants and Phillies strand a record 30 base runners.
Oh.
The Yankees win. Giants win 10-6.
Not
30 base runners.
With 30 base runners, 10-6. Wow.
Yeah. Moving on to 1962, the year I was born, Minnesota Twins Bobby Allison and Harmon Killebrew hit grand slams in the first inning.
Ooh.
And Harmon Killebrew connects with another club record 11-run first inning. 11. I assume they won the game. Okay, Mr. Giants fan, what happened on this day in 1970?
No idea.
Willie Mays became the 10th player to get 3,000 hits.
Ah, very nice.
1976, Nadia Comaneci, 14 years old, becomes the first gymnast in Olympic Games history to score a perfect 10. Doing so 7 times at the match. And I remember that. I remember watching that Olympics and seeing that. 1987, the New York Yankees, Don Mattingly ties a record for home runs in consecutive games with 8.
Wow.
And 1994, Houston Astros tie a National League comeback record, trailing 10-0. They beat the Cards 15-12.
Oh, that's amazing.
I have a country music one for you.
Okay, what do you got?
1982, Willie Nelson was number 1 on the country album charts with "You're Always on My Mind."
Ah, very nice.
And
82, year I was born.
There you go. but I don't think you were on his mind at the time.
No.
Maybe your mom and dad's mind. You were on their mind.
No, they were more of a Chicago fan.
You totally missed my joke.
Oh, I did.
That your parents were.
On my mind. Yeah, let's hope so.
You were on their mind.
I would think so.
Okay. Anyways.
I would think so.
It's no fun when you totally blow the whole
I did.
1980. Billy Joel is held on top position both U.S. album and singles charts with his album Glass Houses, containing the first and biggest #1 hit, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. And last but not least, 1964, the Four Seasons started a 2-week run at #1 with the U.S. singles charts with Ragdoll. And that is it for trivia. I thought I had more, I guess.
Wonderful. All righty. Well, we're going to come back and talk about investing in collectibles. We'll say collectibles, what they are as an asset class, and some of the nuances, some of the things, maybe some pitfalls and things to remember. Just general, again, these are general ideas and things like that. Obviously, nothing specific per se that we would encourage anybody to do. But
Beanie Babies.
We're exactly like a Beanie Baby. Goodness. We're going to be right back to chat about these things right here on News Talk KNCO AM 830.
Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Ostrofe Financial Consultants, National Planning Member SIPC.
Welcome back to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO AM 830. As my kids have asked many times, Dad, where are you on the radio?
Why or where?
Where? And I say AM. And they go, Dad, what's that? And I say, well, there's 2 different types of radio bands, AM and FM. And you can listen to the show on AM. And they said, well, what number? I said 830. And the youngest says, well, why are you on 830? I go, that's just because.
Well, were they thinking it was a time why you on 8:30 and where are you doing it, or like in your office? Maybe you were answering the wrong question.
I think they think that it's more internet things. Like how do I find it on my podcast, on my app, on my iPad or something? Less like they have to actually turn on a radio.
Well, I wonder, is there a radio app for a computer?
There is. Yeah, you can listen.
I think so.
Well, you can listen to AM 830 on iHeartRadio app or online as well. Okay. Both.
So just show him that.
It is available. I know I've shown him. Yeah. Well, they're 10, so he's 10, Weston in particular, but,
then they'll complain that I can't see you.
That would be the next one. Oh, well, all good. Well, Rick, we're going to talk about collectibles today.
Yes.
And, they've long since been something as many would call an alternative investment. And they are oftentimes, and I think the word collectible and investing in collectible has been used in many arguments as to why someone might be purchasing something. Well, it's an investment. It's collectible.
Well, and see, that's the thing, because first of all, you can collect almost anything.
Yes.
And it's amazing that's my whole Beanie Baby comment earlier was that back in the day, I don't know, it's been probably 20 years where you've got these little stuffed toys that you could buy right at the store. I mean, they became kind of a fad. It came, the prices went up for rare ones.
Right.
So when we're talking about anything to be collectible, at the end of the day, there has to be enough interest where there's more people wanting it than there is availability.
Yes, I think that's key.
Yes. So usually
absolutely key.
So whatever you're collecting, if you're doing, there's investment collectors and there's hobby collectors.
Yes.
And I would say that many people are a little bit of both. You might start out as a hobby because you enjoy the item, whether it be cars or furniture or Beanie Babies or baseballs or
whatever it might be,
watches or purses or furniture. I mean, as I say, so there could be the hobbyist who just likes it for the joy of obtaining and owning those things.
I would agree.
The investment person is taking it to the next level. Say, let's say it's sports memorabilia.
Yep.
Okay. I can pick up a common player, get a baseball, $35, and I have my favorite player's signature.
Correct.
Or I can say, okay, you know what? I think there's this is a hot item. I need to do some research to find out who's selling.
Yep.
Okay. What's the availability? Is it rare? Is it certified? Because when you get into some collectibles, you have to have a certificate of authentication. I mean, anyone could sign a ball.
Yeah.
And if you ever seen Willie Mays' signature, it looks nothing like Willie Mays. It's just this really bizarre signature.
Right.
But only someone who knows his signature could be able to tell.
Right.
So if you're getting in for investment, you got to be careful. You need to do your homework.
There's a lot of homework that has to go. It typically goes into that kind of thing.
Because it's not like the stock market where you can turn on the TV and you can see what Microsoft, which closed at an all-time high today.
It did.
You can, every second you can see what Microsoft stock is trading at.
Correct.
You can't say how much a 65 Ford Mustang is trading.
No.
And
Absolutely. Too many variables.
Exact. Too many variables. I mean, number one, in order to be collectible,
Yep.
there has to be demand for the item.
Yeah.
It needs, as we were saying, there should be less of that item than people looking for it. So what they call rare.
Yep.
And it has to be somewhat, condition is huge.
Yep.
I mean, you can probably find all sorts of cars and barns and stuff, and it's going to cost more to restore it than it'll be worth.
Correct.
Unless it's a labor of love, which for many car people, it's a labor of love.
It's a hobby, not a, and they may justify it or convince their spouse that it's an investment, and that's why they're putting, a new engine in that 65 Mustang, because it's part of the investment. But realistically, oftentimes, it's a hobby. It's not an investment. It's a hobby, and distinguishing between the two is really important.
Absolutely.
As to what is, because a lot of it comes down to where do you draw the line, on things like maintaining a car, right? That you may have, doing regular maintenance on it, on a vehicle that is rare, and
finding parts,
being able to find parts for it. I mean, all those kinds of things are difficult and can get very, very expensive and eat into the potential return on investment on that.
So we will talk about the advantage of investing. So now we'll move to the investing side.
Yeah.
Investing in collectibles. Number one, it is a diversification. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
They can provide your portfolio with diversification. Yes, don't want to have your eggs in one basket.
Right.
But we would say that if there's a hierarchy of investing, this is the last thing that you would add to the mix.
Agreed.
You don't start out at 16 years old and say, well, you know what? My baseball card collection is going to be my retirement plan.
Right. Yes, please don't do that.
And there was a time where you could probably do that, but I think...
Right, maybe, yeah.
Portability,
Yep.
So it's something you can take with you. And it allows you to follow your passion.
Yeah.
There's nothing sexy about 100 shares of Microsoft other than the value.
Right.
But look at the software, there's nothing. And so enjoying your passion. But at the end of the day, you need to be careful, because if it is a passion... okay, then it can, and you're putting a lot of money into it. Really, in order for it to become a good investment, at some point there has to be a liquidity event.
Absolutely.
And if you are emotionally attached to that item, and I have a perfect example for myself. So back in the 90s, I started doing some sports collecting.
Yep.
And I knew who the big players were, and I bought this baseball that was very rare. I paid decent money for it.
Yeah.
But the main reason I bought it was for what it was, what it stood for. And I'm not going to go into details, but what it stood for, okay? With my passions and my interest. That it's the one of all the collectibles I don't ever want to sell.
Yeah.
And so it would have to go up. It would have to be an offer I couldn't refuse. But no one knows I have it, so they're not going to be saying, hey, if you have this ball.
Right.
But if I could 10 times my money, I would sell it.
Right.
Okay.
But not just double.
No.
Not
again, only if I needed it.
Wouldn't be enough.
It wouldn't be enough. So if you are doing it with a passion, at some point there's got to be a practicality, and you need to let go of things that you might have an emotional attachment to.
A little too much emotion to it. Yeah.
And it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You going on searching the internet and finding that thing and bidding on it, or going to a card show, or
there's
going to Vegas.
There's whole TV shows about these people's
Antique
passions and
Roadshow.
them making money from their passion. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or being surprised.
Yes.
Easy access. I mean, you can go and.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons I think has hurt the collectible market, because it used to be, before the internet, you could have something that in reality was very common, but in your sphere of influence was very rare, because there was no knowledge of this other stuff.
That's right.
And then once people start getting into it, it's easy access.
That's right.
I remember my great grandparents had some china. So this is 100-year-old china. They had money, so it was from reputable,
Yeah.
and they don't make this kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So when I was thought, okay, well, there's too many pieces here. Maybe I could sell some. The problem was, if you go across the nation now, everybody's got great grandmothers. There's enough wealthy families, and so now everybody has it, and its value is there's no interest.
There's almost no interest and not a lot of value there. Yes, because there's too much of it.
Yeah. So downsides of investing in collectibles.
Yes.
Rampant fraud, which again, when you sports memorabilia. Unless you're an expert, collectibles are extremely risky. It's unregulated industry full of frauds, fakes, and forgeries. Even experts can be fooled by a convincing knockoff.
Ah, yes.
So that's like when you Antique Roadshow.
Yep.
The people bring their things. I got this from Aunt Bertha. She got it at a garage sale. Sometimes they find a nugget, and sometimes they said, no, this is not worth
that was a fake. Yep.
Yeah. Markups. Collectibles dealers are notorious for marking up items so much they can make a profit.
Right.
And I have seen that too.
Absolutely.
You have to do your research when dealing with dealers either on the buy or the sell side.
Yes, agreed.
Comps are tough.
Yeah.
Comparing, it's sort of like having the custom house in a neighborhood of, custom houses.
It's like there's not really comparable.
Yeah, exactly. So again, getting those
could be difficult to find.
Right.
Really can be. It's like that old car. It's like having a 65 Mustang. Well, yeah, but what color? What options did it come with? Is
convertible? Is it a V8?
Is it a 4-speed? Is it an automatic?
Yeah.
Is it what color interior? What type of material is your interior made out of? And
exactly.
What special
did it have factory air?
What special little code did it have from the factory that somebody ordered it with? And it's just a lot of times these things are not really comparable very easily.
Right.
I agree.
Lack of liquidity.
Yep.
This is true. So again, you just can't go on the market. Now, you should be able, well, again, this is to talk sports collectibles. Usually, you're going to have to get it to the person. You're going to have to put it on consignment or
find a buyer. Versus 100 shares of Microsoft sell every half of a second,
exactly.
Less,
Blink of an eye, it's a different price.
That's right. Absolutely.
Damage diminishes the value.
Yeah.
If you have furniture or pottery and it's got a little chip in it.
Yep.
I have another story about that I don't want to go into. I broke part of it, and I'm afraid to have it appraised again.
Yes, yeah. I mean, grandkids come by, scratch it.
Yep.
Right? Ride by on their scooters in your garage.
You have to store and insure them.
Yes, you do.
They can usually be insured with a rider on your homeowner's policy.
Right.
But again, that's an ongoing cost. It may not be very much, but
it's something though.
Yeah,
it is something.
And you have to store it. And if you don't have room in your house, you have a storage unit or 2 or 3, like some people I know.
Like some people
full of antique furniture that I have no idea how much it's worth.
Right, or what will ever happen with it.
I'm saving some of it. I'm saving if it's not antique. I've got stuff in there, but I'm hoping when the kids, I got 2 more kids that need to establish homes.
So far, how of the 2 that have,
yes,
how many of those 2 did they come clean out any of those units?
They didn't clean out. They took an item here and an item there.
Item here and there. That's right. I was going to guess.
But every spring, I always say I'm going to take. Daniel and I are going to go and we're going to go weed it out, and hasn't happened yet. Someday.
Yeah, it's interesting because you've got, and some of these things will surprise you. Sometimes the values. But the key is how do you get that liquidity for event to actually happen, right? It may say, well, this is appraised for $10,000, but it might take you 2 years to find the buyer to pay you $10,000 for it.
Exactly. Or you could go to an auction house. I think I told this story last time we talked about this. My sister had a painting in her bedroom of flowers, and she saw in the newspaper. And at the end of the day, she went there and she put it on auction. And she got $250,000 for it.
Yes.
That's another reason why I have 3 storage units, because there could be that nugget. There could be that nugget. So here's a question from a CPA standpoint. How are collectibles taxed?
Now, unfortunately, they're taxed as a capital asset, but they're taxed at a higher capital gains tax rate. So you do not receive the 15% federal capital gains tax rate. Collectibles, the gain on a collectible, it works like a lot of other capital assets, right? Where you get your purchase price plus the sum total of improvements. For example, if you restored a car, for example, you bought it and then you restored it. And you got to pay
storage costs.
Storage costs, that's a good question, actually. I'm not sure on that one. I don't think so, though. I don't think storage costs count because I don't think storage costs are are capitalized.
And do you know if let's say I take my baseball and I go to a Bay Area sports dealer who's got a storefront,
right?
Is he required to report
what
like
the
a
sale?
1099?
Above, I think it's above $600 or so. Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to give you a 1099 on the sale.
Okay.
Yep. So it's taxed at a higher rate though.
So it looks like
28%. Yeah, instead of 15. So on the sale, the gain, the profit is taxed at 28% Fed. So almost double.
Yeah.
If you sold your Microsoft stock for a profit.
So at the end of the day, should you invest in collectibles? I would say because of the benefits, I think, if you have the extra money. So you've covered all your other bases. You've been funding your 401ks. You've got money in an emergency account. You can put food on the table, all those things. And you've got something you want to play with, then sure.
Right.
And it can be fun, and you should have a goal. You could say, you know what, I'm going to do this, but this is going to be a hobby, not a business.
And you got to set a boundary.
You got to set your boundaries.
Yes,
it can be a lot of fun.
Set limits.
Set limits.
Yep, I agree.
And just know that real quickly, the 10 most popular collectibles of all time.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go through this real quick. So number one is one I wouldn't antique furniture.
Okay,
which is a tough one because that's where you get a lot of fraud. And then number two, here's another one: vinyl records.
Okay.
Now I've got most of my records from my childhood, and I've got some memorable ones like Van Halen's first album. Unfortunately, I played it to death, so it's probably
not worth anything.
It's not like I bought it in the wrapper and stuck it away for 40 years.
Left it in the wrapper. Yes.
And that's the kind of thing. Like my Mustang. I didn't buy it as an investment. Right. I bought it to drive it.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, it will probably hold its value, but there's no guarantees.
No guarantees.
Number three, comic books.
Okay.
Which is very good.
Yeah.
4, coins and currency.
Yeah.
Now this is all time. This is
correct. There's
a cycle. There's a cycle that goes on.
Agreed.
Number 5, classic cars.
Very good.
Number 6, trading cards.
Yes.
Okay. Number 7, dolls and toys.
Okay.
Like Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
And then 8, what my dad did, stamps. I still have my dad's stamp collection.
Stamps.
I need to take it somewhere to get it appraised or just get rid of it because none of my kids want to.
No,
I wasn't into it. Oh, here's one that's close to my heart. But again, this is the kind of thing where I don't collect it. I drink it. Wine.
Okay. Yep.
I buy wine to enjoy drinking it, not to hang on to it.
Yes.
And then final, number 10, fine art and jewelry.
Okay. Yeah. I would have thought that would have been higher, but I'm glad it made it in the top 10. You would think art and jewelry would be up there too. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So if any of those are your passions, you can get all sorts of information on the internet.
Yes.
There's tons of different websites. Do your homework, do your research.
A lot of homework. And as almost the most important thing is sell when you can. Sell when it's worth money. And
you have to look at the market. Usually prices, from my own personal experience, when the economy is red hot, that's when people jump into collectibles.
That's right.
And when the economy goes cold, it's the first thing to go.
That's right.
So if and you want to be able to buy when everyone's selling, and you want to sell when everyone's buying. So
that's right. You got to watch that.
Watch that market and
watch that cycle. Well, as always, we want to appreciate all you listeners out there. Let you know we thank you for listening in today. And as always, you can go to our website at ostrofinancial.com. Click on the news link there. You can download or stream previous shows. And as always, give us a call at 273-4425 and come experience the difference when you think beyond investments.
Bye, folks.
Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostrofe Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.